So let's talk about distance casting. Before we start, we're at a park right now today, and there's a big party going on about 200 yards away under an awning, so we may have a little background noise, but this is a really good day for us to do this, good light, all that kind of stuff, and we're leaving Florida in just a couple of days, so it's our last chance to really do this video. So put up with the noise and enjoy the party if we hear it too much. All right, so let's talk about distance casting. In distance casting, there's a lot of different pieces of distance casting. So we're going to go through those pieces and then show you some drills that you can do to try to master most of those pieces, or at least get a fairly competent level of performance with most of those pieces. So when we distance, let's just take the single hand first, because what does this hand do? I know everybody's all excited about the double haul, but the double haul doesn't add much. The double haul adds maybe 15% to your total distance. Most of what your distance cast is comprised of is how far you can cast with one hand and how far you can shoot once you let go of the line. And that is a function of timing and acceleration. So we're going to talk about that and give you some drills. But let's talk about this first. Good distance casters, this hand, when they get back to here, assuming they haven't shot line in the back, we'll cover that in a minute, they're going to come back to here and they're going to get as far back as they can. So the number one thing, really good distance casters all have a huge long stroke length. They're rocking their body. You watch their rageifs, they're way back here and then way up here. The longer your stroke length, the easier it is to carry more line because you're using more of your body, including your legs. So that's the first thing. The second thing is delayed rotation of the wrist. If you watch, and we're going to demonstrate this in a little while, and this is something you need to practice if you're going to do distance, and this is one of the drills you have to do, is this. You're here, it's like throwing a spear. You're going to throw a spear through to here, and then you're going to rotate. So it's this. So you can practice that with a noodle, just practice. It's here and here. A lot of rotation at the end, that gives you more speed. If you're not accelerating at the same rate you were accelerating at the beginning, in other words, if you run out of acceleration at the end, your line is going to dump, and that's what happens. So if your line dumps, the top leg, the bottom leg looks pretty good. It comes off, it hits the bottom of the reel, everything looks good, and then your top leg just kind of dies. Assuming there's no wind, if that happens, it's because you ran out of acceleration at the end of your forward stroke. So make sure that you're rotating as late as you can, and that's going to help. So this hand is important. Rotation late, and then this. Let's talk about the haul. When you're going to haul, the longer your haul, the better the chance of having a long cast. Even assuming that the speed stays the same. Obviously a short fast haul is going to create more line speed than a short slow haul. But assuming your line speed is fast and you're going as fast as you can, when you get back to here and you reach way back to here, this is your haul position. You're here. That hand's way back here instead of here. That gives you an extra foot of haul. So now you're coming forward, you're rotating, and when you start to haul, the next thing you're doing is here. Here. So if you look at Echo Tim Rageif's logo, it's got Tim Rageif like this, and his hand's way back here, because that's the most effective haul. So I'm here, this hand is way back here, and then I'm coming forward, and then it's here. Right there. The haul, and if you get into the video on hauling, you're going to see that the haul should finish at the same time the rod tip stops. So as your hand stops, the haul stops. So you're here. You're going to see both of those two things stop at exactly the same time. Right there. And that's where you want to be for your best distance cast. So let's talk about a couple other things. Number one, drifting. If you're going to get to be a really good distance caster, when you get back to here, let's say you can carry 60 feet pretty easily in the back with a haul, and now you want to cast to 100 feet. Unless you put a little bit of line in the back, it's going to be awful hard to shoot 60 feet to 100 feet. It'd be very difficult without a wind and perfect timing and just unbelievably good double haul. And a perfect release. So what you're going to do is you're going to come back, and then right here you're going to let go of the line. And we're going to have a video, we have a video on drifting, so you need to practice that. You're going to let go and let it go back 10 feet. Now you've got 70 feet back there. But remember, now you've increased the amount of line, you've also had to increase your casting arc. So you get to here, you're going to drift both, this is rotational drift, you're going to drift like this and like this. So here, you're way back to here, and now you drift Now when you start coming forward, you have the proper casting arc for that increased amount of line. So if people who distance cast a long ways shoot line in the back on their last back cast and they drift. That's going to be an important consideration. So you're going to hold up as much line as you can, false casting it. So let's say I start at 50 and I go to 60 and 65 and maybe I get to 70. And now at 70, that's as much line as I can hold. That's all I can hold and false cast it with decent loops. The only possibility I have of increasing from 70, I can probably go to 100, 95, 90, 95, 100, depending on the efficacy of my double haul and my release point and the wind and atmospheric conditions and so on. But the bottom line is if I want to go farther than 100, even under the best conditions, I have to shoot line in the back, drift, instead of 70 back there, now I've got 80. Now when I've got 80 back there and it's straight, now I don't have to hold it anymore, I can just shoot it. So now it's just got to be one back cast, one level, and then shoot. So those are the basic things that go into making a good distance cast. Good back cast, good forward cast, and of course all the drills. Some people say, well, why should I even care about long distance? Because it's just an ego thing. Well, I can just tell you that if you can't cast 70 feet on the grass with a piece of yarn with no wind, you're not going to cast 50 feet when you're bone fishing into a wind with the clouds around the end of your line. It's not going to happen. So the only way you can cast 50 feet in really horrendous conditions is to be able to cast 70 feet when the conditions aren't bad. So learning to distance cast is going to help you catch more fish even at moderate distances. And if nothing else, what it's going to do is save you a ton of energy. So when you're making 40-foot, 50-foot casts, you're in a drift boat and you're making casts to the bank with a streamer, you're going to be able to do that much easier because the haul is going to save you a ton of work with this hand. So any kind of time you're doing blind casting and you're using a lot of energy, that haul, even in moderate casts, is going to save you energy. So let's talk about some of the drills.